Hey, how's it going? In today's video, I'll be talking about Scheflen's model of courtship, and I'll be giving some tips and advice on how to pick up on some nonverbal cues and how to initiate an interaction at the bar and maybe get lucky. So, in Scheflen's model of courtship, it has 5 stages. The first stage of the model is the attention stage. So, in the attention stage, it's about getting the other person's attention and making yourself look as good as possible. The stage revolves around a lot of nonverbal cues, and some of them include glances to make eye contact, smiling, and there may even be anxious movements by the other person. So after you gather their attention, it's now on to the courtship readiness stage. According to the book Close Encounters, the stage is often referred to as the recognition stage. The initiator must determine if the flirtation is approachable by reading nonverbals. Many flirtatious behaviors in the stage will include things like mutual gazing at each other, direct body movements, and grooming oneself. If the other person is giving you a cold stare, then they probably do not want to be approached. Now, in the third stage of the Scheflen's model, it's the positioning stage. What happens in this stage is that both people will signal that they are ready for interaction. Close distancing and face-to-face orientation is common, as well as someone may lower the voice during the conversation to bring in the other person closer. The next stage that follows is the invitations and sexual arousal stage. This stage begins with subtle touch and sexual contact, such as putting a hand on another person's knee or perhaps rubbing their back. These behaviors release the chemicals oxytocin and endorphins, which are key components to bonding, trust, and pleasure. The final stage is the resolution stage, and this is where sexual intercourse occurs. It's important to note that this model of courtship does not have a time frame, and that it can happen in one night and it can happen over the course of weeks, months, years. It's all up to the people. So now I'm going to be giving some advice that can be applied for all people, no matter the sexual orientation. Many times people just like to go out to a bar for a drink, but there's still a handful of people who look to have a hookup. So if you're one of those people and you're at a bar and see someone who stands out to you, be sure to pay attention to their nonverbal cues. The first signs will include quick glances of eye contact and grooming to make your to make themselves appear better. Some of these nonverbals of grooming, or some of these grooming will be often for males to fix their belt or straighten their tie, and hair twisting is popular among females. I would recommend waiting for a few nonverbal cues because an article about sexual interest states that males often overestimate the other person's interest, to whereas females will underestimate it. So now it's time for the interaction. A few tips for positioning yourself would be to use expressive voices and show that you're interested by getting closer to them. I mean, you have to have respect for the other person's space, but using a lower tone may draw the other person in closer so they can hear you. The first few stages might have seemed tricky, but the last 2 stages is where everyone must be careful and cautious. I say this because a research article shows that 90% of college males use overly aggressive sexual tactics in a bar. As the interaction happens, I would suggest you use subtle touches such as pushing a strand of hair out of their face or trying to hold their hand to suggest you have a sexual desire. If they accept these invitations, perhaps ask them if they want to leave with you, or you could get their number for later. It's up to you. The last step is sexual intercourse, which you must pick up on as they either accept or decline your sexual advancements. I cannot stress it enough, but never ever, seriously ever, push someone further if they deny your nonverbals or decline you verbally. Thank you.